welcome back to my channel. This week's character breakdown is taking us back into the world of Vampire Diaries, but also into its spin-off, the originals. The Mikaelson family, original vampires, royal pains in the ass, and some of the most complicated characters I have ever worked with, so of course I had to make my own. Welcome to the world of Elysa Mikaelson. It's gonna get messy, so hold on tight. The Originals is a CW spin-off of the show Vampire Diaries. It features the main antagonists from several of the early seasons, the Mikaelson siblings, otherwise known as the original vampires. And I do mean original. They are, in age order, Freya, Finn, Elijah, Niklaus, Cole, Rebecca, and Henrik. For centuries, none of them remembered Freya because she was taken as a child, and little Henrik died before they all turned as a result of a werewolf attack. The show follows the siblings as they attempt to remake their home in New Orleans, which they were responsible for helping create decades before, probably centuries before, I'm not entirely positive, and just what happens when you're away from home for 100 years. Elysa is the second known, third actual, and youngest daughter of the Mikaelson family. She is older than only one of her siblings, Henrik. With his death, she returned to being the baby of the family, but was forever changed by losing him because she was with him at the time of his death. This resulted in their mother hating her very existence because she allowed Henrik to die, and Niklaus, who treasured Henrik beyond all words, also despised her for centuries. Elijah and the remaining siblings fought to protect their baby sister from the wrath of those who were supposed to love her. For centuries, Elijah and Rebecca were Eliza's only friends, her best friends. Elijah is her soul twin, as her mother declared upon her birth, thus gifting her with the feminine version of Elijah's name. And Rebecca was her only known sister. The pair would do anything and everything for their baby sister, even if it meant going against their own siblings. Finn always saw Elysa as weak because she relied so heavily on Elijah and Rebecca for protection, and Cole, for the most part, didn't really care as long as it didn't affect his life. Niklaus, after centuries of hating Elysa, finally changed his attitude when he learned the truth about the night Henrik died. The baby of the family, youngest of them all, sacrificed himself to save Elysa from the werewolves. With so many siblings and such a dark beginning, creating Elysa was a challenge. I knew she'd be close with at least two of her siblings. Usually I stick with one sibling to form a close bond with, but considering how many she had, I figured two or more would probably be best. At the beginning, it's Elijah and Rebecca, and once Niklaus finds out the truth, he also becomes a sibling that she shares a strong bond with. She does have a weird relationship with Cole. Mine's out of the gutters, people. But that developed on its own, and I really have no idea where it came from. They're very sarcastic towards each other. They're very antagonistic towards each other. But when it all comes down to it, they would lay down their lives for each other. So it's a weird relationship they have. But it works for them. It really does. I also knew she and Niklaus, or Klaus as most call him, would have a rocky relationship because that's the type of relationship he has with all of his siblings. In his defense, he is the result of his mother's affair with a werewolf and didn't find out until he killed for the first time, triggering his curse. So, it is a very solid defense that he has. I also wanted there to be something 100% unique about Elysa, and ended up with two things. One, her hair is pale autumn leaf red. That is exactly how I described it when I was creating her. As most know, I write out most of the physical attributes of my character before I physically create them. So that is one thing I wanted. I wanted her hair color to be distinct and unique because all the others are blondes or brunettes, and I wanted Elysa to stand out appearance-wise. Two, she is the one sibling Klaus has never been able to dagger. Klaus has a series of daggers that, when plunged into the chest of his siblings, sends them into a comatose state, where he then puts them inside coffins and carries them around all over the place for however long he deems they need to be punished. Elysa, even with Klaus being part werewolf, is easily the fastest of all the Mikaelson siblings, and he has never been able to dagger her. Because of that, she doesn't know the feeling of losing decades at a time, but she does know the feeling of being utterly alone, as she would always run and hide from Klaus whenever he put Elijah under, because Elijah is the only one who can prevent Klaus from hurting Elysa. And as they're soul twins, Elysa always knows when Klaus daggers Elijah, therefore she knows to run, and when Klaus removes the dagger from Elijah, he is able to follow that bond and find her and let her know it's safe to come home because he is once again there to protect her. Elysa does fear Klaus because of the anger he holds, but unlike the rest of her siblings, she will never know the fear of him locking her in a box and burning her while she sleeps. That is a very real fear all the others have, except for possibly Elijah, because he's got the closest relationship with him, and honestly, I don't think he could survive without him. The easiest part of creating Elysa was picking her name. I've always loved the name Elysa, and I knew one day I wanted to use it for a character. When I first started creating her, I wasn't sure about using it because of how similar it was to Elijah's name, but then I had the idea of soul twins and creating that bond between them. I know soul twins isn't something you hear a lot about these days, but it's a concept I love using when I can. To explain it as simply as possible, soul twins are identical in a way of who they are, not necessarily in appearance, but who they are, who their core is. They just understand each other. They view the world similarly, almost identically. Just the very core of who they are is this, basically the same. It's almost as if they were meant to be born twins, but they weren't. They can either be born generations or years or, you know, next sibling apart. They don't even have to be siblings. They don't even have to be related, but their souls are connected. And it's a concept I love using. I don't always say that's what it is, but it's a concept I loved using, and the idea of giving Elysa this type of bond with one of her siblings just felt right, especially with the name I wanted to use for her. Hardest part about creating Elysa, her siblings. Good freaking gods, are there enough of them? Keeping track of her relationships with each one and any history she has with them is an absolute nightmare. I'd love to say it was a nightmare, but I'm still going with the girl, and it's a miracle I haven't lost my damn mind. Well, lost any more of it. Anyway, I'm telling you, I thought I had a lot of siblings. I mean, I have 5. Elysa has 6. I have 5, but I only talked to one of them. She, at one time or another, talks to all of her siblings and deals with them on a day-to-day basis. I deal with one sibling on a day-to-day basis, and that's enough for me. If I had to deal with 6 of them, no. With a character like Elysa, there isn't a whole hell of a lot that's easy about writing her, and there's unfortunately too much that's hard to write. Both of those are firsts for me, and both for the same reason. The Mikaelson vampires, the originals, are 1,000 years old. Their lives are long and complicated, heartbreaking and devastating, and it doesn't lead to a whole lot of easy times, but it does leave a lot of hard ones behind. Maybe one day I'll make a post-in video, you know, detailing Elysa's past, going through every detail of everything she's gone through with each of her siblings and in her own life. But for now, let's just say it's a very interesting ride writing this girl. As of right now, I just want to get Elysa to the end of the series alive. I haven't watched the final season, so I don't know if that's possible. Don't go bursting my bubble. I need it right now, but we'll see. It's a roller coaster I'm on right now, working through seasons 2 and 3, and I have to take long breaks between episodes just so I can remember how to be happy. Because anyone who's watched the originals, or even watched them when they were on Vampire Diaries, knows that happy isn't really something the Mikaelsons do well. They do it for short periods of time, and then it just kind of crumbles under their feet. So, because Elysa is a Mikaelson, unfortunately, she falls under that same umbrella. I'm not sure I went like this for umbrella, because umbrellas go like this, but you know what I mean. She's the same. She has spurts of happiness, and then it all comes crashing down to hell. She's definitely one of the more interesting characters I write, and one of the ones that's taking the longest simply because of how complicated she is. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give up on her. And that is our character breakdown for Elysa Mikaelson. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. Let me know down in the comments below if you watch Vampire Diaries or the originals, which one's your favorite, who's your favorite original, and who's your favorite Vampire Diary character. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. I love knowing you guys enjoy my work and the content that I give you. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. I love gaining more followers or expanding the universe I've created around myself to share the knowledge that I've accumulated over the last 16, almost 17 years. Oh god. If you have subscribed but you haven't yet, don't forget to turn on that notification bell, setting your options to all, not just for me, but for everyone you follow. So that way you always get a notification whenever we upload a new video. And I will see you guys on Wednesday with our next video. Bye!